jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports,
What up, it's your boy Roy Jones Jr. and right now you tune into World Combat Sports.
Yeah, once again, thanks for tuning in. You listen to World Combat Sports, man. Big shout out and salute to the WCS supporters, man. First and foremost, you already know it's Tuesday. One day closer to the weekend as always. You see the thumbnail. I just want that, just take a little gander at that for a minute. I wanted it all to soak in before I start to turn up the burners, you know what I'm saying, and put this in the microwave. So I just want you to take a look at the thumbnail and everything, because Jermell Charlo has a rematch with Brian Castano coming up next week. So I just want to touch bases on, this whole deal with Jermell Charlo and Derrick James situation. I'll get some people time to come on deck and everything before we get really started with this. But in the meantime, let's look at Derrick James' boxing record. Well, let's address something right quick. Derrick James is scheduled potentially to be a part of something special as a boxing coach, and that is he currently have 2 unified champions in his stable, but they're not undisputed. They've never been undisputed, right? So in 2022, he has the opportunity to place himself in a position where as a boxing trainer, coach, he can become that guy. If Jermell Charlo is able to defend and win, defend his title successfully and pick up Brian Castano's WBO title, he will be undisputed. Then if by chance we're able to get the fight signed between Crawford Spence and, with that being the case, Errol Spence fight for the undisputed, then he may potentially, pick up that, but it's far-fetched. But I'm just saying, he has the potential in 2022 for that gauntlet. Derrick James, as a boxer, I've been seeing a lot lately about, people mention, Bomac's record, Derrick James' record, which is absolutely pointless to any conversation that you're going to have about the two camps, because ultimately these guys are not active fighters, but they are active trainers. So when I look at Derrick James' record, he ended his record 21-7 and 12 knockouts. His last fight was back in 2008. All right. Back in 2008, versus a guy who was 15-13. And the fight before that was in 2007, August 2nd, 2007. He fought an undefeated guy at the end of his career, damn near. And he was knocked the fuck out in the 6th round. Before that, he had a no contest. You know what I'm saying? So, they say he has 21-7-1. So The fourth fight prior to his last, he fought a 4-7 guy. You know what I'm saying? Then before him, a 2022 guy, and then a 9-25. This is stellar. This is stellar roster competition I'm looking at. 10-0 guy. You know what I'm saying? Whenever it's an undefeated, close to undefeated, he don't get the job done. So let's look at when he fought James Labwama. He had an undefeated record 10-0. He was stopped in 8. Anyway, I'm not here to go through his record, but you know how pointless it is. And anyone who's tuned in, they didn't get shit from what I just went through. Exactly. But I just had to put it out there like these guys are not fighting for these fighters. It's their fighters who they're training, going in there representing them to get the job done. So let's move on to bigger and better things, right? Mr. Pass on deck, what's good with it? Dead Game Boxing, salute to you. DB, salute WCS. Mr. Pass say, WCS, I think you sent the link to this video by mistake. Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. Give me 1 second. Okay, back to what I was saying. Instead of the StreamYard link. Instead of the StreamYard. Oh, you're talking about what I have pinned to the top. No, it's up there for a reason. I'm gonna send a StreamYard link, but you learned something today, Mr. Pats. You know what I'm saying? It's levels to everything. You know what I'm saying? No, I put that up there for a reason, man. I didn't want the StreamYard link right now, but I know it's gonna be a lot of people jumping in for this particular topic because they want to defend the Texas boxers. Nah, I'll tell you another. I'll tell you another. Nah, I keep that to myself. That Mr. Pass, I keep that to myself. Appreciate everyone for pulling up, though. So what we have here is we have a rematch that's going, and what I wanted to bring Charlo up for is because he's faced his first L against Tony Harrison, but he avenged it. So that's old news. He avenged that. That's old news. He was outboxed, and then he came back and he ended up stopping him. So that's old news, but it's a part of his boxing history. Now he runs into a guy in Brian Castano who defeated Patrick Teixeira, and he was able to step in there with Jermell Charlo and fight for Undisputed. Now, a lot of us was thinking that Jermell Charlo had what it take to go in there and collect all the titles, and he didn't. And ended up being a very, very razor thin fight where the results came in as a draw. So with that draw that happened last year around, I think it was around July 2021, they returned just short of 10 months. All right, just short of 10 months, they returned to the ring to try to settle the score. So that's going to be freaking next week in Carson, California. Now, it's a lot that I want to nitpick about this, because here is an undisputed, you know, title shot is going on in Carson, California. And the only real, solid name that they have on the undercard right now is Jaron Ennis. The fight card is, you know what I'm saying? I don't know about them Charlos selling, man. Like the fight card, that's what they really should be talking about. The fight card is okay. It's like looking at a clearance rack, man. When a store is going out of business, does it really matter? You know what I'm saying? Everything's discounted. And him fighting in Carson, California, outside of Texas. Wow. I don't even think he packs the place out. And if I want to be, if I want to be the playing the guessing game, man, they probably have for that fight, man, the seat allocation is probably going to be like 456. You know what I'm saying? I mean, who's coming to see this fight, man? Look, the Mexican fans will show up because it's West Coast. But Charlo fans, the black fans, the black boxing fans, I mean, you might have a few here and there that travel. But who's truly going to travel? Because the reason why I'm saying that is that I didn't see. I mean, that's Vegas. So there was a lot of people that was bleeding over from the NFL draft that came out there. That was Vegas. But they did very, very good numbers with a combined fan base out there in Vegas. I don't think the combined fan base out there in Carson, California is going to benefit either fighter, especially Charlo. And Charlo is a unified champion right now. I don't think it's going to benefit anything. I really don't. But my issue is the two fighters that Derrick James had, primarily Jermell Charlo. Now, I'm the one, I really don't get into itemizing fights and all that because this is the way I think about that. When you're having a conversation with somebody and they might be very educated on a subject that they've looked up and studied, and they pretty much archived an extensive amount of information, and they're able to recall it. That's what boxing talk is. A lot of individuals who have recalled information, you know what I'm saying, and study and recall information. This what brings me to this point, right? So many people would just look on the exterior part of, Derrick James training without understanding that him and Jermell Charlo really don't have that close bond of relationship as a trainer. That's very, very important because I'm hearing Guzman, you know what I'm saying, is really the one that's training Jermell Charlo, not Derrick James. Now, Derrick James will probably be the one that's in his corner, but from what I hear, Derrick James is not training Jermell Charlo all the time. You know what I'm saying? He's not. My biggest question is, since Jermell Charlo has shown time and time again not to listen to Derrick James, I wonder if he's going to be able to listen to Guzman. Or is the only reason he was Guzman because Guzman may be more adept to just being that person that's there to train and not really trying to enforce any discipline. Like Kevin Cunningham. Kevin Cunningham, you come to his stable, he trains you, he has you under a close watch. He has discipline. He has rules, standards, structure. You feel me? So I'm trying to see why there's a discord between Jermell Charlo and Derrick James. Because we've seen time and time again, he don't listen. If you go back to the Austin Trout fight, when he stepped in there, his brother had already fallen. But when Jermell Charlo stepped in there, all he was trying to do is take his head off. And they're yelling and screaming from the corner, like, damn, calm your ass down, relax. What are you doing? And then, them Charlos cock their head to the left and they think they know everything. And then instead of them saying, okay, let me chill. He was still out there trying to knock out a slick fighter like Austin Trout. And he really made it more difficult than what it should have been. But he was trying to up his brother. His brother had a better amateur record than he did. You know what I'm saying? His brother was receiving all the nutrients and protein when they was in the womb. It was a lot going on with the Charlos at that time. You know what I'm saying? Brother Jamal Charlo was getting first dibs at everything that was beneficial to have him being a stronger brother in life. So I'm looking at Jamel Charlo at this point in time. Jamel Charlo has an opportunity to do something that Jamal Charlo has never accomplished, and that has become undisputed. He's becoming undisputed. But a lot plays into this support system when it comes to a fighter. What I mean by support system is the fans that's really pulling for Jamel Charlo with sincerity. You know, a fan is looking at his talent and they appreciate how he goes in there. And one of the fights I was totally impressed with was when he came in there for the rematch against Tony Harrison. I felt that he was zoned in, and that is one of the only fights I felt that he had the eye of the lion. I really felt that he had the eye of the lion. He was so focused on getting his WBC title back. But prior to that, when Tony Harrison took it, I did see him dip into the darkness while he was shedding tears. You know, no one really heard of Jamel Charlo during that time when he lost his title. You know, Mr. Big Mouth was very, very quiescent, and we didn't hear too much about him. And heading into this fight with Brian Castano, man, I'm telling you, it's a lot of people going to be rooting against Mel Charlo. There's a lot of people that's going to be rooting against. Like, look, when it comes down to somebody like myself from the South, I have no problem with supporting my people. I do. But when my people have made it clear, perfectly clear to me, that just because they have their part of wealth, you know what I'm saying, they have much more of a higher annual income than I do, and he keeps calling his fans broke, it's a problem there. You can't keep on saying that shit with black people. Are you broke ass? You broke? It's several people I know that he's disrespected in life. You know what I'm saying? He just have a real bad attitude. I don't think he's here to help out his people at all. I don't give a damn what he's doing in the community over there. I don't care. It's what he's put on record in front of the microphone that concerns me with Jamel Charlo. Derrick James just happened to be in a situation where when Jamel left Ronnie Shields, I mean, he went to the next best. You know, why don't I link up with Errol Spence? You know, we cool. Why don't I go over here and let Derrick James? Now the weird part about that was that I don't know if they ever bonded that way, because I see Jamel Charlo especially being a knucklehead. I see him being a knucklehead and difficult to train, you know. I think he's very, very difficult to train, man. That's why he left Running Shields, because Running Shields told him some real shit. And he didn't like it, so he left and went over there and split up from his brother. I'm glad he did leave, because I don't know if it would have worked out with Running Shields training both of the twins. So now he's back over here with Derrick James, with Errol Spence. Both of them have a common denominator. I don't think either Errol Spence or Jamel Charlo listens to Derrick James. I don't. And they're not training him. He's not training them fighters full time. I don't think Spence or Charlo listens 100% intensively to Derrick James when it comes to this boxing shit. So if you're not listening to him in the gym, what make you think you're going to listen in this big fight that's coming up? This is a huge fight. If Derrick James run the 2-0 and 22, it'll be amazing. You can't tell him nothing. He would have far surpassed his mediocre boxing record. Because just because you have two unified champions, okay. But how much recognition did they give Derrick James for that? Hardly to none. They're not really recognizing him as doing anything because why? Both of his star pupils aren't really notable to the boxing public. You know what I'm saying? Their notoriety only stops at the ceiling inside world-class boxing gym. They're not something that's global. Even Errol Spence being way more popular than Jermell Charlo, he still has some grand rising to accomplish. He still has some footprints and geographical landscape that he needs to cover. And the only way he's going to do that is that he has a big win, a huge win. He haven't really had a big win outside of Sean Porter. You know, him going in the fight with Sean Porter, people was kind of like, you know, that's a 50-50 fight. It wasn't that way with Urdinas Ugas. You can't say that he went into the Urdinas Ugas fight and they gave him a higher appraisal than they did Sean Porter. It just wasn't the case. Now, a lot of us was pulling for Ugas, of course, but when it came down to it, he got the job done. Now he's unified champion. For Jermell Charlo, he beat Jason Rosario, who defeated J-Rock. You know, like, let's think about that. Nobody's really going to jump up and down about Jason Rosario, you know, being on the record of Jermell Charlo like that. Like, he just didn't have enough time to blossom into something special, Jason Rosario. Good guy, but he just didn't have that time. Like, I'm looking at J-Rock when he defeated Jerry Hurd. I'm like, wow, what a special moment. J-Rock, he can't be touched right now. If you put him in there with any other 154-pounder, he give him the business. And he gets on the mic and talk about how people treat you when you take your first loss, this, that, and the other. He gives this hero speech, you know, this motivational hero speech, you know, to treat us better than that, give us respect. And then he comes in here and gets stopped by Jason Rosario. Jason Rosario didn't have really any time to just enjoy himself. He steps in there with Jermell Charlo and do the percolator off a jab. So the toughest fight of Jermell's career was Brian Castano. And he couldn't get the win. He couldn't close out and seal the deal and get the win. That's fact. He could not seal the win. Can he do it next week? Is he capable of going in there? Is Brian Castano capable of going in there and providing us with the same tenacity that we see in the first fight? Is it possible for them to clash just as heavy as they did before? Because I really don't want to see any boxing politics, man. You know what I'm saying? I just don't want to see it. And I think really it should be a very, very competitive fight like the first one. But, you know, I'm going for Castano in this fight. And here's my reasons for going for Castano. It's out of absolute, you know, using my listening ears and everything. It's absolute biasness that I'm taking now with Charlo. Because I'm tired of him treating people like we peons. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't matter. Like we don't pay for his tickets. Like we don't support boxing by paying for these fights and paying to go see them fight. We do that. We allow you to live your lavish lifestyle, even though you're the one that competing in a professional sport. This dude has said broke so many times. He's treated his fans like we're inferior. They always want to sit up here and try to check someone. Just because you give ES News a ride in your sports car, you ain't win over no fucking fans that way. I bet you won't give a black media personnel access and ride us around in your car. Because then you'll be looking like, man, you know, I invited him. I invited him. But shit, that nigga was clout chasing. He was clout chasing. You know, when it come to our own, we clout chasing. When actually, you know, we give our kids all these motivational speeches. Hey, man, be a hard worker. Go out here and do what you got to do. Be a hard worker. Work for everything you get so you can know that you earned it. And then you hang around the boxing community And you out here working hard. You trying to then show these fighters that you showing them love, you support them, and you really rocking with them, especially your own people, right? And then they turn around and say, "Oh, you clout chasing." So that's my point. That's my biggest point. The pin to the cushion with freaking Jamel Charlo and his brother is the fact that they sit up here and treat their fans, especially black fans, like we're inferior, like they're the one running the plantation. That's how I get with them. That's the energy that I get from these dudes. And this is not something I do. But in this particular fight right here, I want Castano to go in there and beat Jamel Charlo, so he can find another way on what's his next move. Move up to 160 or something. Try to get a title up there. You can call it hate all you want to. I'll take that. I'll take that because I don't have no respect for him. I don't have no respect because as a fighter, boxing don't consist of morals and principles, but goddamn it, it should consist of a little ounce of respect, especially to those who support you. Andrew Charles on deck. What's good? Bruce Gas on deck. What it do? Salute, drive in peace. That's my take on that, man. When I look at these fighters, like the fighters I support heavy, I've had interactions with them. It's a reason for that. Team Williams, that's family. We roll differently. That's family setting. But when you're supporting these fighters that you have really no connection, except when you see them at a fight card, you want to, I'm up there showing them love, right? I give them 100%. I start them off at 100% with respect and allow them to work. I don't really have to start them off at 0% and have them build up from there. I start off at 100%, be respectful. How you doing, champ? This, that, and the other. Glad to see you. But with the Charlo brothers, man, they so disrespectful. They try to humiliate their own people. And they don't even care about what they're doing. I don't quite get it, and it's not for me to get why both of them took the time to go at Deontay Wilder when he, was one of these champions that was out here winning. He did something that they'll probably never do. He was champion reigning over 5 years, winning there for his 11th title defense. One of the hardest hitters in the game, has multiple highlight reel knockouts. And the Charlos took it upon themselves when he ran into adversity with Tyson Fury to sit up there and pour hot grease on him, to sit up there and take jabs. You know what I'm saying? Voice their aspersions toward the champ. I didn't feel that was something that we should respect as people, as boxing people. Because they was up there taking jabs and being disrespectful. My skills pay the bills. Race didn't have nothing to do with it. Everything he was talking about, they was sitting up there like two Texas cheerleaders, that Jerry Jones hired, just as temp, through the temp agency. They sit up there and goddamn run their mouth a little bit. So if they can sit up here and just be facetious, man, and antagonize people, why can't people antagonize them? They're no different. I remember when Jerry Hurd, one of the coolest cats, when he was a unified champion, all you heard is Jamel Charlo disrespecting him, talking shit about his family, all that shit. These Charlos are some disrespectful individuals, man. And no way am I supporting him going in there and getting the victory. I don't give a fuck what his skin color is. Because I've been living long enough to know that we not only, when it gets to a point, we not only won't support one another, but when it comes down to it, I know for a fact certain black fighters have attempted to prevent media from getting credentials. Blacks would try to tear everything you have built up just off one situation when you don't support them, and you look at the entire landscape of the history that they have laid down, the rubber they have laid down on the road, being disrespectful to people. And then when you start treating them the same way, they say, oh, he's so-and-so. Okay, make sure he don't get no media. They go over there and talk to somebody. I don't want so and so showing up. That's our people. I've had it done to me. I've had it done to me by my own people, where they blackball you all because something small that you did. So I hope Brian Castano go in there and whoop his ass, bro. I hope Brian Castano go in there and whoop Charlo ass. I don't give a fuck once again what shade he is. These cats are disrespectful. They don't give a damn about their fans. And who cares if you gave ES News a ride? You ain't gonna give no black media a ride in your sports car and let them get that exclusive footage. And not to mention, right? You know, I don't even bring up some of the old shit. Like I'm hearing the stuff with, you know, they keep talking about how Terrence Crawford was dropped by Gamboa, which I think that is something that's just goes to show you in the YouTube community, it's voices out here that will continue to debilitate the seriousness that should be taken in this social media realm of reporting. And they're not going to take us serious when we're speaking about Gamboa hurting Crawford. But then me, I look at it like, the shit I know, I don't even bring it up all at one time. But you know who else was dropped in their career? Because I'm up there hearing, you know, somebody say that chins don't get better when there's a lot of fighters in our boxing history, in the boxing annals, that has been touched on the chin. Do you know Charlo was dropped in his career? His professional career. Do you know Jermell Charlo was dropped? But they're not going to talk about that because they all ride the bandwagon of the Spencerholics. Do y'all know that Charlo was dropped in his professional career? See, I don't like talking about the shit that I consider irrelevant and I consider extremely petty. But do y'all know that Charlo, since they bringing up shit about Crawford and Gamboa, do you know 8 years ago that Charlo was dropped also? He was sat down by a guy from Yokohama, Japan. He's really black and Japanese. My guy in Japan. I bet you probably, a lot of you that was listening probably didn't even know that shit. But Charlo's been dropped. I could have said that shit when I was over there on Everything in Boxing. I could have said the same shit and switched it up because I don't feel that we should be talking about something that happened 8 years ago, but it did. May of 2014, a guy named Charlie Orta dropped Charlo in a fight. Now I'm gonna turn you on the game now because this is what I do. If you look on BoxRec, you won't even see the guy's name. Go check BoxRec for Charlie Orta, ORTA. Go on BoxRec and check it out. Go ahead. If you find a Charlie Orta on there, I'll give you $500. Go ahead, check it. I'll wait. Because one thing I do, I read. I just don't go out here and try to put all this shit out, you know, because I'm doing boxing and MMA and all that. But go check it out, man. Why isn't that dude? Why doesn't it display the date I just gave you in May of 2014? Why doesn't display Charlo touching the canvas like it does everybody else? Why? Charlo has been on the deck. I bet they cleared that up real nice when he started to grow and really come into his own. And they went up here and said, hey, BoxRec, you think you can move that? You know, don't put that on there when I was dropped. Did anybody in the chat find Charlie Orta on the BoxRec? Anybody? When he dropped Jermell Charlo? Just please let me know. Easy work boxing on deck with it. What's good with it? Mr. Pat said, WCS, do you remember the guy that had clothing brand and who approached one of the Charlos for a collab? Yeah. And Charlo said, no, I got my own clothing brand. And who the fuck are you? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Mr. Paz. I'm glad you mentioned that, right? Because, see, there's too many situations that the Charlo has been a part of, and people talk about behind the scenes. Just like I was talking to one of my colleagues, and he mentioned that they was trying to get a fighter to go up there and spar Charlo. But Charlo said he's already a world champion. No, we don't need you. You know what I'm saying? We're doing just fine over here. We all remember what Mr. Pass just mentioned about the guy with the brand. He probably thought, I don't know if he was in Texas or not. He probably thought that the Charlos would be willing and able to say, you know what, let me see what you're about. Yeah, let me see what you're talking about. It might have been a lucrative type of investment for him if he would have took on this brand. But nah, he said, who the fuck are you? Jermell Charlo, man, he's an asshole, man. And I don't say that about a lot of adults, because in order for you to call somebody an asshole, the way I look at it is that they have to continue to do shit that's kind of unprovoked. You know what I'm saying? You give people all this built up negative energy and disrespect and belligerency, all because you are an asshole. That's who you are. You want to be an asshole. So, and this sport of boxing, assholes, you can be an asshole. You know, it's the fight game. But when it comes to your fans and you keep on disrespecting people, then they're not going to support you. But anybody find Charlie Orta yet? Anybody find Charlie Orta? Okay, because you're not. You're not going to find the guy. But Charlo was dropped back in 2014, 8 years ago. I don't hear nobody talking about his chin. Wasn't he cracked by Brian Castano? It's the difference between damn near, you being on noodle legs and shit, them knees buckle, then you hurting. They both hurt each other. But we all saw Charlo's knees buckle. It damn near looks similar to the second time Sugar Shane Mosley caught Floyd Mayweather. Charlie Orta is not on the box rec in that name. His name on box rec is Charles Bellamy. Even Charles Bellamy, who fought at the Mohegan, they do not display the knockdown that he should be getting credit for against Jermell Charlo. Look it up. Charles Bellamy should be getting full credit for putting them paws on Jermell Charlo and sending them to the canvas. I've heard people say he ain't never been dropped. I can't say I heard him say that, but bro, what's up with the fraud? If you got dropped in your career, talk about it. It's because I want all these other cats to go around here and they want to highlight what happened to Terrence Crawford's career. Come on, man. Let's talk about Charlo heading to this fight. He's been on the canvas already in his professional career. Y'all need to really talk about why his knockdown is not depicted on his box rec under that name, Charles Bellamy. The man deserves to have that bragging rights. He deserved that shit, y'all. DP Rock on that was good with it. Being Boxing News say 2-0. And, definitely we disagree on that. We absolutely disagree. It's a high possibility that Derrick James may go 0-2 in 22. He might go 0-2 in 22, dog. Real talk. I don't care who from Texas. I don't care what you repping over there. It has nothing to do with Texas in general. I'm talking about certain individuals that reside in that footprint. Because truth be told, they from Lafayette. Truth be told, he's from Long Island. Real talk. Some of your favorite fighters are not even born and raised. They weren't even born and raised there. They just went to school. Lafayette and Long Island isn't Texas. It's a big possibility Derrick James can go 0-2 on this gauntlet, man. It's a huge possibility. I'm hoping next weekend Castano get in that motherfucking chest and goddamn fight the best fight he ever fought and send Charlo home empty-handed and he get the undisputed titles. And then another part of me saying, you know what? I want Charlo to win. For real talk. Another part of me is saying, you know, I want Charlo to win those titles. Because I know a lot of y'all on here knowing where I'm going with this. A big part of me saying, you know, I really want Charlo to win those titles. Because when Terrence Crawford steps on Spence and tap dance on that and walk away with those damn straps, he said he going up there to beat Charlo ass. Then we can absolutely see the line that's come out of Jermell Charlo. We already done seen it before. We already done heard him say what? You need to humble yourself, take less pay, sit down, you know, be the challenger. The little boy is talking. All we heard is motherfucking cubs purring. We didn't hear no growl of the lion. We didn't hear the roar. We heard motherfucker, you know, just like you dealing with a newborn. You was nursing a cub. This dude is not trying to get Terrence Crawford. So I'm going to take one step at a time because the fight hasn't been made. But I just wanted to highlight why a big part of me want Jermell Charlo to win. Because I already know Crawford going to win. And I want to change my thumbnail. You know what I'm saying? My thumbnail right now that I have in here, you know, I only have 2-time. I can only go up to 2-time because that's a fight that's pretty close to coming to fruition. You know what I'm saying? This thumbnail right here, 2-time undisputed 2022. I want to put a 3 on that because we get to witness Jermell Charlo, if he's able to get past Castano, duck Terrence Crawford. Could you only imagine 3 division undisputed? It's possible. That's, you know, but at the end of the day, as a person, and Jermell Charlo, he has a knockdown that's not even depicted on his box rec. That's fraud. That's bogus. He was dropped by Charles Bellamy. All right. And then a month after that, on Terrence Crawford record, he had a fight with Gamboa, who was undefeated and a champion. And Crawford dropped him several times over before the fight was stopped. But they want to come in here and give these recycle toilet water narratives that they keep flushing down, and then they keep on goddamn. It's almost like having an empty pipe on the end. They flush it, they collect the sewage that they just flushed, and then they put it back in the damn toilet bowl to flush it over and over again. They want to talk about toilet bowl narratives, bro. We just had both of these fighters do what they do. We had Spence pick up a win and Crawford pick up a win. And then now all they want to do all of a sudden and start talking about shit that happened 8 years ago, which you should just slap yourself. You should put your hands behind your back and close your eyes and just run forward into a brick wall. You should punish yourself for coming up with content that doesn't make any sense right now. It's just stupid to even think about. You're talking about Gamboa fighting Crawford when you're not even talking about Jermell Charlo being dropped around the same freaking 8-year mark. It doesn't make any sense at all. He was able to finish and get the win for unanimous 12-round fight. You know, he was able to get the win, but he was dropped. He was on the canvas. No one's talking about it. So I'm giving you something to talk about. You know what I'm saying? For those of you that's up here whining and complaining about Gamboa touching Crawford, when he dropped Gamboa several times and he finished the fight with a stoppage and picked up the title. I know it's difficult when you don't know the answer and you got to run on Google. I know. I know, dog. I know. Just like you said that Sean Porter was dropped with a right hook and not a left hook. I know, bro. People think they know everything, but they don't. They don't, man. Cooking with Sir Senior on deck. What it do? Combat Sports was good. Pet is what it sounds like, and what you actually know is two different types of education. There's special ed, and then there's freaking college. You know what I'm saying? There's degree orientated at the advanced level of learning. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I'm at with the combat sports game, whether you like it or not. You know what I'm saying? Sir Senior, they fake claiming somewhere they moved to. Yeah, man, they are fake claiming. See, once again, we can be petty, bro. You from Lafayette, Louisiana, and then we're talking about Long Island. Long Island. Neither one of these groups are from actual Texas. It don't matter how long you've been there. You ain't from there. You ain't from there, Shawty. For real. To be honest, I'm happy either way. Bud gonna get those titles too. I don't think Charlie and Spence gonna win. I don't think Charlie and Spence are gonna win. Okay, Charlo and Spence. That means if you don't think Charlo and Spence is gonna win, that means Derrick James is gonna be 0-2. That means he's going 0-2 and 22. You feel me? What did he say on this thumbnail? Light them up. Both my fighters don't listen. That's Derrick James. Light him up. Both my fighters don't listen. They don't listen, y'all. What did he tell Spence after the fight? Huh, Pettis? What did he tell him? He talking to him about focus. Let me educate you on something, because I don't think you really deal with those numbers. You know what I'm saying? I think you just put that name up there. I don't think you really deal with those numbers. If I put 5 pennies in your hand, you'll say, well, that's a dime, right? Because I'm counting my fingers. And anyway, I don't even think you really deal with the numbers. Errol Spence is in his 30s. Obviously, as kids, we have a critical period of learning that we go through. That's where we determine what's right from wrong. What, we go through the cognizant process of determining certain, ways to process things in life that becomes a bit more vivid to us as we grow up. You know what I'm saying? Maturity sets in. We understand the dangers. You turn on the hot stove and some of us can look at it and say, okay, that shit's hot. And then some kids like yourself, they probably have to put their hand on there. Oh, it's red. Wow, that's a beautiful color. Let me put my hand on there. And then you get goddamn first degree burns and shit. You missing a couple of fingerprints. Errol Spence is an elite fighter in his 30s. And Derrick James is talking to him about focus. Let me say that again. When I was in my 30s, I was preparing to retire from a 20-year career. I was preparing to retire. What I was doing in my 20s up to my 30s, I dealt with the Pentagon. I dealt with all these dang headquarters and these command centers and communications with a top secret clearance. Errol Spence is competing in a sport where he has to make his own decisions. And people are looking at him as one of the more popular boxers in the sport. But yet, he's still being micromanaged because he's not dialing it and calibrating it all in when he need to. Derrick James is still talking to this man about focus. Focus is very, very essential when you're about to step in there with someone to the name of Terrence Bud Crawford. It's extremely high that you pay the fuck attention. Why are you in your 30s and your coach is still telling you focus? You get that focus down, we'll be good. We'll be all good, man. We'll do this. We'll run it up. You ain't got to do no real research. Do a simple Google search. He got that right, dog. You know what I'm saying? But for some people like Pettis, you know what I'm saying? He needs research. You know what I'm saying? I know when he comes when he stumbles into the live chat, he seems like a prior helmet recipient. You know what I'm saying? He used to sit on the bus where he required the helmet with the goddamn zip tie chin strap that you couldn't be removed until you got to your stop. You know what I'm saying? You seem like you was a helmet recipient when you was coming up. You know, things didn't go your way. You just banged it up against the window. Pow! Pow! They had to put that helmet on you, dog. Crawford is going to frustrate Spence by punch and grab technique like he did Porter. This is what I have to say about that, Charles. What I know about Terrence Crawford is going to benefit him. Let me try to juxtapose this analogy, right? In MMA, right? Back in the day, you know, most of the individuals that fought, they just fought in their specialty, whether it was stand-up striking game, kung fu, karate, taekwondo, you know what I'm saying, wrestling, boxing. They just competed. Even Ray Mercer knocked out a former UFC heavyweight champion, Tim Silver. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say is, when it comes down to other strengths that Terrence Crawford possesses, one of them happened to be wrestling. Now, for the naive, they might look at wrestling and say, "Oh, it's boxing, man. It's a stand-up striking game. You got to use your hand." I know that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it, because when you're in boxing, you have to use footwork just like wrestlers. You know, when you wrestle, you have to use footwork. And then when you're in the clinch, wrestling helps, because in wrestling, you clinch a lot. You learn how to move on the inside differently than fighters who just know how to box. Not every fighter can box off the back foot. Not every fighter knows how to maneuver when they're going backwards. Not every fighter can get in the clinch and know how to use that strength to turn their opponent or move their opponent into positions that they want. Terrence Crawford is a very good wrestler. That's going to benefit him also when he steps in there with Spence, if the fight happens. He's stronger than Spence. You know what I'm saying? He's stronger than Spence, man. That's my take on it. Terrence Crawford is a stronger fighter in general than Spence. And he's gonna utilize that wrestling in the clinch just like he did Sean Porter. Come on, man. Y'all seen it. Sean Porter is touted as this Tasmanian devil that's all out, ferocious. He's gonna come forward, and people's talking about Terrence Crawford fight him on the inside. He's gonna get knocked out. Man, he was manhandling. Like, he had no problem turning Sean Porter. The overhand lead, backhand uppercut is gonna give EJ pure trauma. Mr. Gumbo on deck with the super chat. Thanks for the $10 super chat for Mr. Gumbo. Once again, appreciate your support, my brother. He said, salute WCS, not the helmet and licking the window. I know, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what Pettis give me that vibe, dog. You know, Pettis give me that vibe that he was in the back of the bus, man, and they had to put that special freaking fiberglass window in. They had his seat colored. They colored it with a yellow marker, especially for him. Put him right there. Yeah, we just put the fiberglass window in there. It's not going to break it all. Put that zip tie on there. Zip him up. Okay. Hey, how does that feel, buddy? The helmet's nice and tight? Okay. If you feel like letting off some energy, go ahead, bang away. Bang away. But anyway, let me get back. Man, appreciate you, Mr. Gumbo, man. Let me put that up there. Appreciate Mr. Gumbo for dropping that super chat on WCS, man, supporting the channel. Always, man. One love to you, bro. You know, I look at it like when it comes down to Jermell Charlo, you know, I am split. I want Castano to go in there and strip him of them motherfucking titles, because that's gonna hurt. Because when he gets stripped of them titles, he ain't gonna have shit except his damn box rec. That's it. Now you have to make the choice on if you're gonna stay at 154 Are you gonna pick up opponent and try to fight Sebastian Fundora? You know what I'm saying? A Tim Zoo. You know what I'm saying? Charles Conwell. You know who you gonna fight next? We don't need for you to fight Erickson Lubin, but you want to go face the Towering Inferno once you lose those titles, because that's who's gonna be fighting for the title next. It's only a matter of time. So yeah, we'd like to see you. Either you're gonna stay in 154 and fight some big names, or you should move up to the motherfucking clandestine division of boxing, and that is motherfucking 160-pound middleweight division. Go over there, fight your brother for the WBC title. You know what I'm saying? Fight him so y'all can make some money, because we know y'all ain't making no money like that no more. They tighten up over there at PBC. Fight your brother, and then whoever win, your brother can go up to 168, so he can stop goddamn whining and crying about that Mexican monster, and go over there and fight David Benavidez. That's an itinerary for y'all right there. That's an itinerary. If you look at or listen to anything I just said, that's an itinerary for you to make money. I already gave you the blueprint. If you get the titles, to fight Spence. No one else was talking about. I gave you the blueprint to make money. 2-fight deal. You fight Spence. You allow Spence to become unified at 154, and then, of course, you got to get them titles back. Black men doing business like that? Nah, it ain't gonna happen. Because both of y'all be able to make millions off that fight. And then you can move up to 160, and you already have a 2-division undisputed attached to your credentials. Or when you lose these titles to Castano, you can move up, fight your brother, go against your mother's wishes, and get paid again, because we definitely want to see 2 Charlos fight. That'll be your highest grossing numbers ever. Go over there and fight your brother, man. See if you really can overtake that throne as being a big bro. Because every time I hear Jamal Charlo, look, every time I see Jamal Charlo or listen to him talk, he seems like he's the bigger brother. So go up there to 160, fight your brother. Whoever wins that family squabble, Jamal needs to move up there and fight the Mexican monster, David Benavidez. Because he said he ain't going no fucking where until he gets the fight that he wants. So you're going to have to see that Mexican monster, like Tyson said. Both of y'all up here, whine, crying, always goddamn water dripping from the eyelids, man, over and over again, I swear to God. Charlo probably going to take a L, man. Hey, I'm going to be tuned in. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be tuned in. I thought about going to that fight, and I said, nah. The undercard is not big enough for me to go over there. It's not big enough, dog. Now, shout out Jaron Ennis, man. No disrespect to Jaron Ennis, man. He's on the card. But goddamn it, in a little bit, shit, Charlo might be on Jaron Ennis undercard. He lose against Brian Castano, shit, he might be on Jaron Ennis undercard. He keep fucking around. I'm just saying, that might be the case. Is this next fight gonna take an L in his next fight? Yeah, man, I'm just looking at it like, man, these dudes disrespect their own people. They disrespect black fighters all the time, just like Chris Colbert. Chris Colbert already done took his L for being stupid. You know I'm not bullshitting. Chris Colbert took his L for being stupid. Now it's time for goddamn Charlo to take his other L. It's time for Charlo to take his other L. Nobody gives a fuck about Selecki. They're not giving Selecki an opportunity to go in there and beat Jamal Charlo. But Castano has an opportunity to go in here and shut the motherfucking door and walk away with those straps. If he did his homework correctly and they really studied and he's trained and he took this shit serious and he didn't receive the orders, if he did not receive the orders, this should be a damn good fight. If he did not receive the orders, and a big part of me is saying no, he may not have received the orders. Because when you look at people receiving orders, it's always for them, the fighter that they want to win, is always for them to fight somebody else for a bigger name. At 154, who is that guy? The only other guy right now that's really buzzing hard is Sebastian Fundora. Tim Tszyu is up there, but man, we weren't really impressed off his fight with Cash. No, not Cash. Terrell Goucher. Nobody was tripping on, like, man, come on, they're not saying anything about that. So right now, Sebastian Fundora. So when I say receive the orders, most of the time, I can refer that to Yadinas Ugas. I can refer that to Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. I said that Deontay Wilder and his team need to be perfect with their security and everything when he went in there to keep that belt. And everything that I talked about, it pretty much came into existence with the controversy, the scandal, and everything else, him losing his title. And then when he went in there the third time, people was like, okay, let's see what the results are going to be. And he went out on his shield. But I don't see the orders. I don't see why would orders be given in Jermell Charlo's case. I think a lot of people really don't like Jermell Charlo, even at PBC. I don't think so. I don't think they really like them like that. They ain't selling tickets like that, but yet they flaunting and acting like they making just crazy amount of money. How? You and your brother fought on the same card, and the numbers sucked. I heard Al Haymon might not allow Spence to risk fighting Crawford. Spence is the PBC cash cow. Pacquiao retired. Thurman is not the same. Haymon lose money if Crawford and Castano win. That's boxing, ain't it? Didn't they say boxing was a business? Wasn't people just ranting and raving that Crawford was going to go over there to PBC and sign? Wasn't these Spencerholics getting high off their own supply? You know what I'm saying? With the motherfucking 25 proof. When they drinking it up, talking about what Terrence Crawford should do is just go over there and lay down at the mercy of PBC and take what they give him. Wasn't they saying that shit? I don't want to hear nothing about Al Haymon. Don't want this, don't want that. If we don't see this fight in 22, it's a duck from Spence. Because at the end of the day, Spence has a voice and he can go over there and say, you know what, man, stop. I want to face Crawford, man. I have to face Crawford. The fans want it. I have to face him. But never forget, Timothy Smith came in here earlier in the first semester of the year. What was he saying? Oh, we don't want to insult him. We already know that he's going to ask for this numbers, and that's just far outside our monetary reach. We don't want to insult him. Y'all remember when Timothy was saying that shit? It wasn't too long ago, y'all. We only in May. It wasn't too long ago that we was hearing that type of tone. So it's not far off what Charles is talking about. That Al Haymon may indeed prevent this fight from happening. But this is the way I look at it when it comes to money, because I don't like numbers, shit like this when it comes to boxing, because it's pointless. But peep this out. Let's just say, you know, what Charles just mentioned about Errol Spence being the cash cow, right? Who is he going to cash cow with? How is he going to be able to milk that motherfucking cow if he don't fight Crawford? Who's up there? Thurman? Nope. You're not going to be able to do the numbers that, you know, Errol Spence and Crawford. Who is in the welterweight division? Let's just say Errol Spence fought Jaron Ennis. That would probably do okay. But Jaron Ennis hasn't established himself yet. He hasn't been in there with any competition remotely close to the champions at the welterweight division. A lot of us who want to see Keith Thurman somewhere in the mix. But there's a lot of bandwagon humpers that's sitting up here. One Jerron Ennis to step in there with the champions in the division. But I don't want to hear that Al Heyman PBC shit that you don't have the money. Because what? They just gave Canelo Alvarez all that money and he came, dipped in, dipped out. And he's about to fight Dimitri Bivol for 53 mil. 53 mil? God damn. God damn. I'm about to start. Look, like Bernie the Boxer say, did you miss me? That's what Canelo said. Look, Canelo saying, did you miss me? Canelo came in, got the bag, and dipped out on their ass. So you can drop all that money for him, but you can't sit up here and make it for two black fighters that's on the pound for pound list. I don't want to hear this shit, y'all. I don't want to hear it, man. I do not want to hear the excuse from a man that they glorify. You saw what happened at the Shakur fight with his family. I was there. I was right there. Everything popped off. I was there. I knew this shit. One thing about the military and being in combat, man, you very aware of your surroundings, right? Enough to the point where when it comes to this boxing game, you look at the moment, all right? You check out the moment first. And then, of course, as media, we're waiting for the person responsible for the moment in Shakur Stevenson to show up. Once Shakur showed up, I noticed something. I was like, oh, shit. He don't have a single belt with him. Oh, shit. Where's his team? Because I seen them already. I seen his team that he was rolling with. I seen his mother. None of them in the media center. Shakur just showed up, unified champion off beating Oscar Valdez, and he don't have his belts, and none of his team is in the press. And you know what? When Shakur, he said, hey, can y'all be quiet? Come on, man. He was polite. Can y'all be quiet? Man, I'm trying to have a press conference. And then Evan was like, it's his press conference, not y'all's. So he continued to do the interview. My question was after Mike Coppinger. I never got the chance because you heard what was supposed to allegedly. No, it was his mother. Okay. She was very distraught about not being able to enter the media center to share the moment post-fight with her son. And she deserved every right to be in the building with her son. And the Vegas shit that was going on with these security that was hired and all the other bullshit. Just because you get hired as security don't mean you know how to speak to people. It doesn't mean you know how to manage a group of people. Because a lot of them cats still, they used to handling shit off the street. So that don't mean they're boxing fans. They probably looked at Shakur's mother and didn't know who she was and say, ma'am, stop. You're not getting in there, okay? No, that's my son. I don't care who it is. You ain't getting it. You know what I'm saying? They probably said some shit like that. And when Shakur heard his mother's voice, what? It was a wrap, dog. Shakur ran off the stage. Right when he was running out the door, they bust in through the door. They brawling inside the media center. And then they bust out the door into the hallway again. It was crazy, man. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. EJ and but they would get ruined, keep ducking Bud. I think right now, this fight is so big that people don't want to hear about the money ain't there. Find a way. People don't want to hear about no money. Canelo came in there, grabbed the bag, and left. We don't want to hear. When it comes to two black fighters that's been on the pound for pound list, one of the only two fighters that's on the pound for pound list that's campaigning in the same division. Don't nobody want to hear shit about a lack of money or depleted funds. We don't want to hear that shit, dog. Kurt on deck with it. What's good? What's good? He said, man, stand behind the black man no matter what. They say them men still growing. Give the black man a chance. That's why he gonna F that chump up. Let's go male. I know it sounds good, that Kurt. And you know, anybody who knows is me from the South, right? I don't believe in that analogy in this circumstance. And nor am I naive enough, as long as I've been living, God blessed me to be living, that I will recklessly go out here and just support my own people when they treating their own people like shit. That's called being conditioned. You want me to be conditioned to take abuse from my own people, hoping they will say I'm supporting them, when you can just take a gander on YouTube and understand that we don't support one another. You can take a gander on how these individuals would go through the high ends to sit up here and prevent you from getting certain things. This is YouTube now. This is YouTube. This is black people tearing down black people. They talking about we should all stick together, but yet they'll be the first one to sit up here and talk behind the scenes and try to plot and scheme on one particular channel, two particular channels, 3 channels, 4, whatever. And those be black channels just because they don't like the person, just because they may be envious. So I don't believe that narrative. I'm from the deep South. I grew up in the racism. You know what I'm saying? It's education that's on the job training that you know gives you the experience that you need to become much more intelligent on how to what? React to it. If you don't have the experience, you might go out here and react a certain way that might change your life forever. Why should I support the Charlo brothers when they keep on calling their own kind broke, when they disrespect black media all the time? He said then told my colleague, saying F him, he a hoe when he was with his girl. If that ain't disrespectful. And then I don't even get into their personal lives. I try to keep it on boxing. But the personal life in shambles. But yet they sitting out here treating their boxing fans like shit, bro. It ain't no black support black nothing in these circumstances. What about, did you go over there and tell Charlo them when they was them taking pokes at Deontay Wilder when he lost and went through his ordeal in his professional career? Were you up there on their doorstep say, hey, how you doing, brothers? My name is Malcolm. I just showed up here in Texas just to speak about your actions. Now, as a people, I feel that we should get along and we should accept certain things that may upset us. But since you look across and you see your brother, there should be a level of acceptance. You know what I'm getting at. Man, come on. Did you show up on the Charlo's doorstep and kick that shit to him? You are in a position to change lives, my brother. And Brother Malcolm is here to help you do that. So first of all, I want you to apologize to the brother Wilder because some words that you said to him wasn't right, my brother. So you need to right that wrong and send him a formal apology. Because we need to get along and we need to help each other. Did you do that, my brother? Seriously. Do you think the Charlos will ever apologize? Do you think they will ever break down and be humble while they telling other black men to be humble? Did you not get from what he told Terrence Crawford? It was the same thing when LeBron was told to shut up and dribble. He was saying, sit down. Black people, we condition, sit down. Learn how to be the challenger. Take less money. Know your position. You know what I'm saying? What does that sound like to you, bro? That sounds like some slavish type shit, right? That really do. That's in 2022. That sounds like some slavish mentality, isn't it? Hearing that from your own people that tell you to sit down, take less money, be the challenge, humble yourself. It seems like some slavish shit. Real talk. That's what I get from it. That stand behind the black man no matter what is the reason why we got black men locked up and incarcerated, because they stood behind and then they got behind bars, served some time, a portion of their sins, and say, oh my God, man, I need a new trial. I'm about to start doing more paper. I need a new trial, man. I can't do this. I can't do this, man. I haven't even heard from so-and-so. I can't do this. But they went in there with the mentality, hey, man, support the black man no matter what. Okay. Don't want to insult him, but don't know how much he even wanted it. Kurt, there, your panties in a bunch. Man, come over here talking about support the black man no matter what. Come on, man. I support my people. I've went through the leaps and bounds supporting my people. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. I have no question in understanding that I'm black. I wouldn't want to be any other shade waking up in the morning. No other. I thank God every day for blessing me to be a black man in society. Regardless of the trials and tribulations, I have absolutely no compunction on being a black man when I wake up in the morning and go to sleep. Period. But I also been living long enough to be in my 50s that I understand that my own people can sometimes be destructive. That's it. I'm not trying to take this back to any type of civil rights movement or anything. Shout out to the Sensei Stormy B in the building, man. Salute to you, my brother. I know I want to talk to you behind the scene about that, unless you want to do it up there. I don't know exactly what you're speaking about. I don't, when it comes to fighters, I don't get into personal shit. Even in Charlos, I don't like them. I really don't get into their personal shit because that's their personal stuff. You know what I'm saying? So what am I like? I will lay criticism down to a point, and I feel it's justifiable when they have did what they did. Like the Charlos has treated black media like shit. He have treated other black fighters like shit. They're always trying to check people, get upset. But yet I didn't see that same energy with Maul Charlo and Mike Tyson. Once again, people, check this out. Once again, you have the Tony Romo of panels hosting a freaking Dallas Star who know very little about boxing, but he got a big fucking mouth. Once again, we're talking about black men, right? That go around and antagonize other black men. Perfect example. Perfect example. Roy Jones Jr. is a black man. I'm just saying. Roy Jones Jr. is a black man. But it's people up here that's getting mad at what he said about Errol Spence. Because they can't be a part of the conversation. They want to trash him. What about Terrence Crawford? They want to get mad. Terrence Crawford is saying this and that. And now they want to talk about Bo Mack, who's a black man. They want to talk about how big he is. He's a black man. So I'm just making these examples, my brother, because you have a lot of black men on YouTube that don't give a fuck about what you're talking about. That's all I'm saying. They don't give a fuck about what you're talking about when it comes to look out for a black man, because that shit does not matter in this YouTube community. It does not matter. Because at the end of the day, a boxer like Roy Jones Jr. has done a plethora of work in boxing, and he's training fighters, and he has gyms all over the place. He's doing what he's supposed to do. He's not broke. He's living well, taking care of his family and all that, right? That's not enough for people who call themselves boxing aficionados, because just because he's not supporting One fighter. Errol Spence is not even 1% of the boxing masses. But just because Roy Jones don't support Errol Spence Jr. and he believed Bud will defeat Errol Spence, they want to trash his name. No, we don't take that serious because if you was invited down to his place for a sparring session to see some of his fighters spar, you would take it. If you saw Roy Jones walking up in person, you say, "Oh my God, Roy." I'll say, "What the fuck? Is that the same dude that was on the panel whining and complaining?" You'll be a fan. You'll say, "Roy, man, you over here in Texas? Oh shit, man. Can I get a picture?" Yeah, they'd be up there smiling, taking a selfie, dog. But on this YouTube, you have a lot of cats that's followers that's black. And they trash other black fighters. They trash their families. Spence versus Ortiz, Crawford versus Thurman. Is it possible next fights? I don't like that because style, and then I heard another buster say styles don't make fights. The dumbest shit ever. Style don't make fights. It's how you impose your style. How the fuck are you going to impose a style if you don't have it? What happens when you impose a style upon someone else and disrupt their rhythm? That means your style was better equipped to disrupt the rhythm of your opponent to earn an advantage. Styles absolutely makes fights. Man, you got these busting that don't even know what the fuck they talking about. They'll sit up here and try to go against the grain over every topic. Styles don't make fights. But yet you say it's how they impose their style. Well, how the fuck you gonna impose anything if you don't have a format? Are you just gonna impose a blank copy, a blank template? No, you have to impose something that's already established. You have to impose something that exists. You can't sit up here and impose an absence. Something has to be present for you to impose it. People don't say, your appearance is imposing. Man, your appearance is imposing. How the fuck am I going to impose my appearance if I don't have a motherfucking structure to impose? If I don't have anything for them to look at and say, "Oh, okay, we know how he looked." Man, it's very imposing. Okay, I think you got the point. I don't see Ortiz faring pretty well against Spence. I'm just saying, I don't see Virgil. Look, that's Styles. Oh my God. When you want to talk about all wrong for Virgil Ortiz, that is a style all wrong for Virgil Ortiz to face Errol Spence. All fucking wrong. Because they're going to, you giving him what he want. Errol Spence, you going to stand there and box? Good luck. Because I don't think Virgil Ortiz is strong enough at this point in time to go up mano a mano, chest to chest, head to head up with Spence. I don't see it. We've seen him have problems with the Hooker fight, and we've seen him with the Kavaliauskas. Man, he's not ready yet. Now, when you talk about Thurman Crawford, of course. If we want to step on motherfucking Thurman, cool. I think the promo will be very good. I think it will be pretty much laughable and provide some type of comedic, environment for the fans to listen to during the promo and the lead up to the fight. Because we all know one of the best promos outside of Blair the Flair Cobb is freaking Keith Thurman. So he's going to talk up the fight. Crawford's going to say what he has to say. He's not going to talk too much. And then he go in there and stop Thurman. And then what's next? Is PBC going to have the money? Are they going to have the finances to get this fight on board? That's the big question. That's the biggest question of it all. No matter what Crawford does, is PBC going to have enough money? Because I also heard the narrative that's being pushed about the B side. At this point in time, with Errol Spence and Terrence Bud Crawford, no one gives a damn about the B side, A side. All right. Errol Spence has the promotion. He has 3 titles. Format wise, he would be considered the A side. So who gives a fuck? Send the contract over. Who gives a damn if Terrence Crawford ain't the A side? If he's the B side going into this fight, so be it. So what? Caleb Plant was the B side, right? Look how much he got paid. Mike Garcia was the B side, right? Look how much he got paid. Why in the hell are we continuing to talk about A side, B side in a fight of this magnitude? Who gives a fuck, man? Who got their title? Look, who won their title at the 130-pound division first? Oscar Valdez or Shakur Stevenson? My point is, they flipped the coin. They flipped the coin to see who walk out. They flipped a coin, y'all. Valdez won his title with a flatlining, brutish knockout of Miguel Burchell. He was reigning champion before Shakur Stevenson won his title. But yet they're flipping the coin for a walkout, for a ring walk. Don't nobody give a fuck about who's the A side, B side. They're both getting paid. They're both getting paid. They're not making measly money like the Charlo brothers. They both going to get monetarily compensated, and they need to be satisfied, made whole, you know what I'm saying? Fair monetary split so we can get to the motherfucking business. Let Errol Spence be the A side. Cool. Do all the work. They always talk about how much heavy lifting you did already. Continue to lift. Follow all the way through with it. You got the titles. I hope they're not too heavy for you. Now get the contract signed and send it over to Team Crawford so the attorneys can look it over and we can get this shit signed. Scott, my brother does security out there in Las Vegas. Okay. I don't know who he is, but it's so many security out there, bro. So many. But that's the way I see it. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I see it. Real talk. Man, I'm dropping a link in the chat, man. I'm dropping a link for anyone. Hey, Errol Spencerholics. The Spencerholics, if they in the building, you're more than welcome to jump on the panel as long as you keep it boxing. I'm not really the one that be putting people in the background and doing all this other stuff, but hey, I'm just like keep it on boxing and not every other thing that I heard in life. I don't, the obscenities and all that shit, being belligerent, that don't do any shit. That don't do shit for me. Real talk. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me take this now. I'm tired of looking at Derrick James. And I'm definitely tired of Charlo, looking at Charlo get that motherfucking heat. That left uppercut. He better be ready next week. Always running his fucking mouth. You better be ready, bro. I don't know how you're going to walk around Texas strapless. I don't know how you're going to walk around Texas strapless. You better be ready, brother. You know what I'm saying? You better be ready, brother. But man, I appreciate y'all for pulling up. Remember, Charlo fights next week. Support the brother. Just because I'm not supporting him don't mean you don't have to. Support the brother. You know what I'm saying? Support the knucklehead big mouth. Support him. You know what I'm saying? If you that guy, support Charlo. That's all I'm saying. If that's what you want to do, support them. I have no issues with that. It's out of my control anyway. I'm not gonna sit up here and convince and push, disdain and hatred out there. I'm responding to what we've seen in the media and how he has addressed his own people. They wanted to talk so much shit about Deontay Wilder when he was down, man. Fuck them. I'm gonna talk shit while you down. Y'all weren't saying that shit when he was going at other fighters. Chris Colbert was doing the same exact thing, running his mouth. 1 down, 1 to go. Chris Colbert went in and got his ass beat. 1 down, 2 to go. That's all I'm saying. 1 down, 2 to go. In the meanwhile, we're gonna keep on working on this 2-time undisputed, the best welterweight in the motherfucking game. You know what I'm saying? Top pound for pound. No matter what lies you push over there on this YTC shit, it don't fucking matter. Remember, the dumbest shit I ever heard on this YouTube shit when somebody said that Errol Spence, like Bud Crawford, they said Bud Crawford needs to be his best. But Errol Spence doesn't need to be his best to defeat Terrence Crawford. I'm gonna tell you what, Errol Spence covered there at 40% like Derrick James, he gonna get motherfucking 60% of that ass whooping. For real. He's gonna get 60% of that ass whooping, dog. And it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be so bad, dog. You keep on pushing these false ass bullshit narratives to these ears of these followers, these listeners that are just out there clowning, not even taking it serious. You're going to corrupt their minds, bro. You're going to corrupt their minds. Real talk. You're going to corrupt their minds. You can't sit here and say anything of that nature and without cracking a smile behind the scenes. You know that's some bullshit. The people that's listening know some bullshit, and you can't take it serious. Terrence Crawford has to be 100% to beat Errol Spence. Errol Spence doesn't need to be 100% to beat Bud Crawford. Man, that would be an ass whooping. Boy, god damn. God damn. Please don't come 100%. Please, Spence. Please don't come in that fight with 100%. Don't do it. Well, you're gonna get your ass annihilated. You can get your ass annihilated up in there, man. Man, y'all hold it down. Turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports. Appreciate everyone for pulling up to the spot, man. Till next time, man. Salute.